before we chat to our next guest, who, when we last spoke to him, he was in international management. He was the manager of Pohnpei, a little Pacific island, and he'd taken the team on from obscurity to near obscurity. But since then, so he's changed allegiances, which we're shocked to hear. And it's Paul Watson joins us. Good afternoon, Paul.
Good afternoon.
So your Pohnpei days, why have you left them behind?
Well, I turned over control of the team to the local players because you can't. There's only so long you can stay in Micronesia for, really. And otherwise it would just become kind of a odd one-man mission to bring football to a part of the world. So you have to kind of leave it in the hands of the players. And so I've come back and I wrote a book about it called Pohnpei, which is currently being made into a film, actually.
Oh, yeah, fantastic. I was going to say, Paul, slightly underselling it because
I was only joking.
I know. The book itself is. I really urge any Talksport listener.
Yeah, it's great fun.
It's a fantastic book.
Oh, thank you.
It's very moving. It's very funny. It's an incredible story, and I'm not surprised they're making it into a movie.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
What? So this good cop, bad cop. There, you just put him in my place.
No, not really. But I just felt it sold it a bit short. When it was more than that. It was an incredible journey. It was an incredible story. You know,
He's filling up. Look.
Well, I am. I loved it. It had that effect on me. It really did.
Jude Law's not in the film because that won't go down particularly well.
But it did strike me that Pohnpei fans could be a bit like Liverpool fans. You know, they're a bit annoyed that you've gone to Chagos United.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not a strong rivalry between those two. You'll find there's not a big history of meetings between the two islands. No.
Is it a similar story though, where there's the conditions and the what am I talking about? The actual facilities rather for playing football are very limited.
Well, actually, I mean, just to give a kind of brief background to what I'm doing now, I'm working alongside the coaches. And me and someone called Ed Stubbs, who does a lot of things for non-FIFA football teams, are working alongside the current staff of the Chagos Islands football team. Now, in case people don't know, the Chagos Islands football team play in Crawley in this country.
Do they?
Yes.
Funny, I didn't know that.
Well, the reason for that actually is quite tragic. It's because they lived in the Indian Ocean and these kind of small islands in the Indian Ocean, mostly on the island of Diego Garcia. And they were forced to leave by the British government in 1966 when they sold it to the US in a 50-year lease for a military base.
Right.
So they were forcibly evicted and basically dumped in Mauritius and the Seychelles. They fought a series of kind of court cases to try and be allowed to return. They've never managed to succeed despite winning court cases that prove it's kind of a human rights abuse. But in 2002, they were granted British passports. So a large community came to England and settled in Crawley, which is where now this kind of national team in exile has been playing for the last few years. And it's one of the few real kind of big ways that the Chagosian community can represent their nation. And that's why, you know, it's a cause I believe in very strongly. And I wanted to help this team and hopefully help lead them to next year's Viva World Cup, which will take place at about the same time as the actual World Cup. And it's for countries that aren't recognised by FIFA, largely for kind of political reasons or places, you know, that can't be recognised because they're not technically nations. So this would be a way of kind of expressing their national identity, but also raising awareness of the fact that these people are in Britain, they're in our country, and what the terrible thing that was done to them.
Never heard that story at all.
I've never heard it at all.
And what sort of pool are they kind of working for? How many readily available players do you have at any one point?
Well, there's about, I mean, the community is, I believe it was 2000 when they first settled here, and there's a really good crop of young players, and in fact quite a few of them have played in the Ryman League and kind of good non-league level, and they've got two very good coaches who I'm just trying to help in any way I can, who are very dedicated. What we don't have is facilities. We don't have floodlights. We don't have balls, or we have some balls, obviously, otherwise it would be quite a poor training session.
Shadow football.
But we lack, you know, basic equipment. As I found in Pohnpei, you know, there's a lack of equipment, and finding opposition is difficult. And that's why.
So they're not in a local league or anything?
No.
Like that?
Well, who we do play against, we're allowed to play against other non-FIFA nations. So Chagos are playing against Sealand on March the 13th in Clapton. Now, that's not your traditional fixture. And Sealand, obviously, they technically represent an offshore fort that was became independent But Sealand field a team of ex-professionals. I think there was talk that Julian Dix would play for them this time.
He's taken on Sealand.
And anyone who's got any, not Julian, of course, but anyone who's got any tax problems, they play for them as well.
Offshore. The offshore Sealand, that could be quite a good thing. It's, I would imagine that this is quite a good opportunity to get on board for one of the major kit sponsors to kind of get behind. This is a good PR story.
Well, I really hope so, because obviously, sponsorship is the main thing that the team needs, and that's why I'm very keen to stress that my role is much more about raising awareness and also helping the UK Chagos Support Association, who do a very good job of raising awareness. And it's more about that really than anything else, because there's kind of a serious issue that needs to be made more public. I was surprised how few people I know, myself included a few years ago, had heard this story.
Well, how were you made aware of it then, Paul?
I read a book by Ben Fogle, who's a really big supporter. He's a patron of the Chagos Support Association, in which I think the British government, I believe, tried to rope him into speaking in favour of a marine reserve, which was one of the British government's attempts to justify not being able to bring the people back to the islands they used to live on. Because the British government said, life can't be sustained there initially, and then they said, well, it would harm the nature. So they tried to get Ben Fogle to be their spokesman, and in fact, on the contrary, he stood up for the Chagosian community, which was really fantastic, and he's done a lot of good kind of fundraising for them. So I see this as an opportunity to hopefully give the Chagosians something to be proud of, and also at the same time help the Chagos support just kind of make people more aware of what's happened. And if this leads to this FIFA World Cup, which would be next year in Sweden,
right? Okay,
that would be an amazing experience for this group of players.
You need a lot of money for that, though, because Sweden is a very expensive place. They look like they're wearing proper kit. Have they got proper?
Yeah, there's a kit. There's a kit that was made. I think it was made in Argentina, which they're currently using. We're hoping to get a new kit and maybe try and sell replicas as a bit of a kind of again, anything we can do to bring people into the cause. We're on Twitter now, as are the Chagos Support Association. They're all on Twitter.
Can they play friendlies against the British teams?
Yeah, I believe we can. And it would be fantastic if they were given more opportunities to play friendlies. I think they were in a Sussex league, but they weren't allowed to continue in that league. I'm not quite sure what the reasons were. Someone said it might have been disciplinary, others said it was financial. But I mean, there is the problem of financing that to even be in a league at a low level, you have to pay a lot in subs, and this is not a team with an awful lot of wealth behind them. So any sponsorship and any assistance in getting training facilities with floodlights so that they can train in the evenings, because in the winter, today we're training as soon as I leave here, there'll be a training session. But in the winter, sessions are, pitifully short because they have no floodlights.
Are you still playing yourself? Because I know you like to play.
I'm not really. I'll probably chase after a few of them, attempting to tackle them. But they are very, very talented, a lot of them, and also a lot younger than you might think. I mean, it's mostly an 18-year-old team.
They're basically students in the main, are they?
Yeah, quite a lot of them are at college, but actually a large number of the players, as I think quite a lot of the Chagosian community, work at Gatwick in various capacities. Right. So that also makes life difficult. A lot of them have to work shift work, which just finding a regular training time is a real issue.
So if people want to follow, where can they follow you, the team on Twitter? And if they want to get involved and can help out, where do they go?
Well, if they go to Chagos Islands FA on Twitter, and they can find me, I'm Paul_C_Watson, and I will always kind of help forward any messages on to the coaches. And also there's Ed Stubbs, if you find Ed Stubbs on Twitter, and he runs Non-FIFA Football, which is a kind of an account that tracks all non-FIFA football teams. And it's fascinating because there's incredible countries, the story of kind of Tibet's national football team, and then you've got Greenland, and you've got all these amazing stories in the non-FIFA football world.
Philip Lom.
That's the boy. Just finally, just an update for people who have read Up Pohnpei. It's a long way to go, as you pointed out to us last time, a fairly tortuous journey to get there. But have you kept in touch with them? Do you know how they're kind of faring? Have they shut up the FIFA rankings?
I don't kind of drop by or anything, but I have heard that the league's grown. The league's grown an awful lot, and now they're getting players who live on the outlying islands are starting to get to play as well, which is amazing. participation just grows and grows, and they're still awaiting any funding from East Asian Football Federation. They've put all the paperwork in now, which was absolutely torturous. But it's all in, and the league continues to run, and the game continues to grow.
Brilliant.
When will the film be out, do you think?
Well, we're working on the screenplay of the film at the moment. We've got a couple of really big name actors. I would love it if they.
Who's playing you?
We haven't got anyone to play me yet.
It's not Jude, is it?
No, it isn't.
He's not, he's not in our good books today, or rather his PRs aren't. But that's not his fault. We're not blaming him.
That's right. I turned down Empire magazine to do this.
A web chat was all lined up. That's right.
Brilliant. Well, it sounds like a great story, and I wish you a lot of luck.
Yeah, we wish you well, Paul.
Thank you very much.
Keep in touch. Tell us how things are faring with Chagos, and we'll get behind the lads, as I think they say. So thanks very much. Good to see you. Paul Watson there. When we come back, we're going to be hearing from Tony Evans from The Times, a Liverpool fan.